God's chosen ones. When it begins, you must hide. God already planned it. You've been waking up at the same time, night after night. 3:33, 4:44. It's not random. It's not anxiety. It's not a dream. Heaven is calling you by name. The world thinks you're just tired, but your spirit knows something is about to shift. You've been hidden, not forgotten. And tonight, the silence is sacred, because God is about to awaken the part of you that was never meant to sleep. You've been feeling it, haven't you? The shifts in your sleep, the weight in your chest, the pressure building in your spirit. You don't talk about it because how do you explain to people that your body is buzzing but your life feels stuck? That you wake up crying and don't know why? That every room you enter feels louder, heavier, almost like your soul is allergic to the old you. You've outgrown what used to feel like home. Conversations that once fed you now exhaust you. Friendships you clung to now feel like echoes. Even your reflection looks like someone in waiting. You wonder if you're losing it. But here's the truth. You're not losing yourself. You're shedding the false version of you that was never meant to stay. When God is about to awaken a chosen one, He doesn't shout, He whispers. And lately, you've been hearing Him louder than ever in the silence. Your body knows it before your mind catches up. You've been tossed in storms you never asked for. You've lost people who swore they'd stay. You've cried prayers no one else heard, but none of it was wasted, not a single tear. You were not being punished, you were being summoned. If you're watching this, it's not by accident. It means the shift is already happening. You've been hidden long enough. Tonight, something ancient inside you is about to rise, and when you wake up, you'll never be the same again. You were chosen. Type 777 if you feel it beginning. Part 1, The Divine Awakening, The Divine Awakening. When God starts whispering at 3:33, a quiet home, the digital clock glows, 3:33 a.m. A woman sits on the edge of her bed. Her feet touch the cold floor. She's not afraid, but she's not at peace either. Her body knows something her mind can't explain. You didn't wake up because of a dream. You woke up because heaven touched your spirit. It's been happening more often, hasn't it? You blink at the clock. 3:33. Again, you sit still, not in fear, but in knowing. This is not insomnia. This is invitation, a divine stirring, not in your body, but in your blueprint. Because when God starts awakening His chosen, He does it in the stillness. While the world sleeps, your spirit rises. You are no longer carbon. You are becoming crystalline. You feel heavy in the body, but light in the spirit. That's because you're shifting, being recalibrated. Your dreams are more vivid. Your tolerance for shallow conversations has vanished. You cry without warning. Your skin tingles when you enter certain rooms. You hear things others don't. You feel alone but not lonely. You're not broken. You're being upgraded. You've always been this way, but now it's reactivating. You knew as a child, the way you loved deeply, the way you felt everything, but life made you forget. Trauma made you shrink. Religion made you fear your own gifts. So God allowed the shaking to awaken what was buried. God, why me? Why now? What is happening to me? And heaven answers not in thunder, but in frequency. The answer is not outside you. It's already pulsing in your bones. You were chosen. Yes, it's overwhelming. Yes, it's uncomfortable. But what you feel is sacred. You are not dying. You are dissolving into who you were always meant to be. If this was happening to you, if the nights got longer, the tears more frequent, the signs more intense, would you still follow the whisper? Would you still rise in the dark? Chosen one, you didn't wake up by mistake. You woke up because something ancient in you heard heaven call your name. Type 777 if your awakening has already begun. Part 2, The Silent Season of Preparation. She's sitting in her car outside the grocery store. It's early morning, the sky is still dark, hands wrapped around a coffee cup, a radio off. No music, just stillness. No one clapped for you in this season. There was no trophy for surviving that heartbreak. No applause when you forgave them again. No one saw when you worshipped with tears in your throat. But heaven did. Heaven wrote it all down. You were still healing while helping others, still showing up when you had nothing left, still praying even when it felt like no one was listening. That wasn't weakness, that was divine loyalty. God hid you on purpose. He didn't forget you, He protected you. You weren't behind. You were in the waiting room of destiny. While others were being celebrated, you were being calibrated, because a spotlight too early can burn what isn't ready. So God held you back not because you were weak, but because your assignment is weighty. He whispered, "Not yet, daughter. Trust me, son." And you obeyed even when it didn't make sense, even when people misunderstood you, even when you were labeled too much or too spiritual. You were being trained to move without applause, to lead without ego, to obey without a crowd. That's why the silence hurt, because silence makes you feel forgotten. But silence is where God whispers assignments. You sat in your car, head on the steering wheel, saying, "God, I'm tired." And somehow, you still went to work, still cooked dinner, still prayed. That was holy. That was the kind of worship only angels understand. You were not delayed. You were being developed, not seen so you could be sent. When God hides you, He's not punishing you, He's preparing you. When He silences the noise, it's so you can hear His voice more clearly. Every hidden act, every quiet yes, every night you didn't quit, they were your training ground. And now, heaven is about to show the world what you built in silence. If no one ever saw what you did in the dark, would you still obey, chosen one? Your silence was not punishment, it was sacred. And now the stage is set. You're about to be called into the light. Type 797 if your hidden season is ending. Part 3. You're in spiritual alignment. That's why it's hard. Kitchen light flickers at 4:44 a.m. She's awake again. Same time, different day. Her journal is open, coffee untouched. She stares at the page, feeling everything and nothing at once. You've been wondering why it's been so heavy lately, why your body feels off, why you're exhausted after doing nothing. This isn't burnout. This is spiritual birth. You're not cursed, you're aligned. And that's exactly why it feels like everything is pressing in on you. Because when your spirit locks into divine timing, everything unlike God must be purged. Your frequency is rising, but your past can't follow you here. You feel tingles, heat in your hands, random nausea. You crave solitude or sleep, and it's not anxiety, it's ascension. Your carbon body is shifting into something crystalline. Your DNA, yes, even that, is receiving new instructions. You're not sick, you're sinking. 1 minute you're peaceful. The next, you're weeping, then angry, then still. That's not chaos, that's cleansing. You're not losing control, you're losing attachment to everything that can't go where God's taking you. Old patterns are screaming for your attention, but you can't go back to who you were, and you shouldn't want to, because that version of you prayed for what's happening right now. You're not behind, you're in divine alignment, and alignment has a cost. Your body is not malfunctioning, it's recalibrating. Your emotions are not unstable, they're being refiltered. Even your relationships are shifting. Some will leave, some will expose themselves, others will fall silent. Because when your frequency rises, not everything can breathe in your new atmosphere. You're finally in position, and spiritual pressure always shows up just before divine propulsion. You're not stuck, you're seated, you're not lost, you're located. And yes, it hurts, because birth always does. So if it feels like you're cracking, you are. But it's not breaking, it's blooming. This is the part heaven sees when you keep walking, even while shedding everything you thought was necessary. If what's falling away was never part of God's blueprint, would you still try to keep it chosen one? The reason it hurts is because you're aligned now, and that pressure you feel, that's not punishment, that's power about to be released. Type 444 if your spirit is recalibrating. Part 4, you're not being rejected, you're being redirected. They didn't push you away, God pulled you aside. Rain streaks down the window. She scrolls through old texts. Group chats are silent now. The phone doesn't ring like it used to. She puts it down, heart heavier than usual, but also freer. They stopped calling. They stopped inviting. They changed. Or maybe they showed you who they really were, and it hurt, didn't it? Because you loved them real. You stayed loyal. You gave more than you should have. But listen to me closely. You were not rejected. You were rerouted. That heartbreak, that closed door, that sudden silence, it wasn't their choice. It was God's correction. Every time you got too close to a counterfeit, heaven disrupted it. Every time you were about to settle in something that didn't carry your next season, heaven intervened. It looked like betrayal, but it was divine redirection. You told yourself, I must not be enough. But the truth is, you were too much for a place that was never meant to hold you. God saw how they were handling you. He saw what you didn't, and He stepped in. Because His love protects even when it hurts. This isn't abandonment. This is alignment. He's not punishing you. He's pulling you into position. Sometimes the rejection is the only thing that can move a chosen one out of comfort and into calling. Yes, it's lonely, but it's also holy because you're not being sent away. You're being sent ahead. You're not being forgotten. You're being refined. God didn't remove them to leave you empty. He removed them to make space. Let them go. Bless them quietly. You don't need revenge. You need release. Your destiny isn't behind you. It's on the other side of obedience. If they weren't willing to go where you're headed, should they really stay in your heart? Chosen one, you didn't lose them. You outgrew them. You weren't rejected. You were rerouted by God, and the road ahead is finally clearing. Type 77 if you've stopped chasing what no longer fits your future. Part 5, 3:30. When heaven calls you by name, why you keep waking up at 3:33 and why you're not alone, middle of the night. She stirs in bed again, glances at the clock. 3:33 a.m. Her eyes widen slightly. Same time. Again, she places her hand over her heart. No fear, but this time there's reverence. It's happening again. You wake up, no alarm, just an invisible pull. You check the time, 3:33 again. You thought it was stress, hormones, a restless night, but you were wrong. It's not anxiety, it's heaven calling you by name. 3 is the number of divine completion, the resurrection, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. When heaven speaks in threes, it's not just a sign, it's a seal. And when the same hour returns night after night, it means God is summoning your attention. He's not waking your body, He's awakening your purpose. There are things He can only whisper when the world is silent, and so He waits until 3:33, when your phone is off, when no one needs you, when you're finally still. In that silence, He's downloading blueprints, adjusting your frequency, calling your spirit forward. The world will call it random, but your spirit knows better. Your body, it's receiving light. Your mind, it's clearing timelines. Your soul, it's syncing with the new assignment. This is not just sleep interruption. This is soul instruction. Even as a child, you felt it. You'd stare at the stars too long, hear things others didn't, sense when someone was lying even if they smiled. That wasn't imagination, that was activation. But life made you forget. Pain made you doubt. So God began reminding you at 3:33, You're not broken, you're being summoned. You're not going crazy, you're coming home. Every time you wake up at that hour, remember it's not insomnia, it's intimacy. If heaven whispered your name every night, would you answer in prayer or dismiss it as a dream? Chosen one. 333 is not a coincidence, it's your burning bush, your invitation to the mountain, your spirit's alarm to rise into purpose. Type 333 in the comments if you finally understand what's been happening to you. Part 6. You've been seeing signs, you just didn't realize it. It was never coincidence, the signs were always for you. She's walking through a store aisle, sees the number 757 on a random receipt. Later, a bird lands on her balcony, stares at her, then flies away. That night, she dreams of her childhood home. Again, you've seen the numbers. 727, 444, 333. You've dreamed the same place 3 nights in a row. You've run into the same stranger twice, heard the same phrase in 2 different songs. And you asked, is that you, God? Heaven doesn't shout. It whispers through symbols. Because the language of the Spirit is not words, it's frequency. It's timing, it's resonance. When God is speaking to the chosen, he speaks through what most people ignore. That deep feeling when someone said your name wrong and you knew it meant something. That time you heard a random song that said exactly what your spirit was praying. The numbers repeating when you were questioning your decision. Those weren't accidents, those were answers. Feathers on your path, birds that watch you, wind that moves without a breeze. God used a burning bush for Moses. He's using subtle signs for you. Because you're not asleep, you're awakening. The more you trust these signs, the louder they become. You start hearing conversations differently, feeling people's energy instantly, seeing patterns others call random. It's not psychic, it's prophetic, it's not paranoia, it's perception. Joseph saw dreams, Daniel interpreted signs, Esther was placed by divine timing. You are not outside that lineage. You were always meant to notice what others dismiss, because you're not here to blend in. You're here to read the room and shift it. You said, maybe I'm imagining it, but your soul wouldn't let it go. Because truth, recognize truth. You're not making it up, you're waking up. How many signs has heaven already sent? While you were too afraid to believe they were for you, chosen one. The signs were never random. They were always customized, always timed, always sacred. And now that you're noticing, the messages will only multiply. Type 777 if you're finally starting to see the signs for what they truly are, divine confirmation. Part 7. You're under spiritual training, not attack. This isn't spiritual warfare. This is spiritual weightlifting. She lies in bed, unable to move. Her joints ache. Her chest feels heavy. She opens her Bible but can't focus. Instead of clarity, a fog. Instead of peace, pressure. She thinks, is something wrong with me? You've said it before, I must be under spiritual attack. The heaviness, the brain fog, the emotional waves, the crushing fatigue. But what if it's not warfare? What if it's weight training? We confuse stretching for suffering, confuse refining for resistance. But God doesn't always allow storms to destroy you. Sometimes he sends them to strengthen you. He's not punishing you. He's preparing you for power. This isn't a battlefield, it's a gymnasium. You're not being attacked, you're being trained. What hurts right now is the expansion of your spiritual muscle. Endurance, discernment, emotional intelligence, sacred boundaries, holy silence. God is stretching your patience through delay, training your discernment through betrayal, strengthening your prayer life through silence. You're not under siege, you're under development. This pain is holy. This resistance is the curriculum of the called. Jesus wasn't attacked in the wilderness, he was trained. Moses wasn't cursed in Midian, he was calibrated. David wasn't rejected in the cave, he was being refined into a king. You are in excellent company. Why it's hard? Because heaven doesn't train warriors with pillows. It trains them with pressure. It's why your sleep shifted, your circle shifted. Even your diet started rejecting low-vibration food. You're not being targeted, you're being tuned. What's happening inside? You're being taught how to hear what's not spoken. Move when others freeze. Stay when others flee. Speak only when heaven says it's time. This isn't chaos, it's choreography, divine discipline, warrior formation. That migraine might be an overload of spiritual data. That chest tightness could be heart chakra expansion. That restlessness, possibly your angelic team nudging you into action. It's not attack, it's adjustment. If this tension was holy, would you stop rebuking it and start respecting it? Chosen one, this isn't spiritual warfare. This is spiritual weight training. You're not under siege. You're in sacred strength school. And when this season ends, you won't just survive, you'll be unshakable. Type "I'm in training" if you feel the pressure, but now understand the purpose. Part 8, you are not going crazy. You are remembering, you're not losing your mind. You're finding your true self. She's cleaning out a drawer, finds an old journal from her teenage years, filled with poems, visions, and things she was once too afraid to tell anyone. She holds it, tears falling quietly. Something ancient inside her stirs. You've been forgetting things lately. Walking into rooms unsure why. Crying mid-sentence, feeling like your mind is fog-broken or lost. But here's the sacred truth. You're not going crazy. You're remembering. You are not unraveling. You are reconnecting to a version of you the world told you to forget. The one who used to see things, feel things, know things, without anyone telling her. That was never your imagination. That was your anointing, because you've been living under a name that wasn't yours, playing a role that kept you safe, dimming a light that made others uncomfortable. And now, heaven is unraveling the false identity. It hurts, it's confusing, but it's not insanity, it's initiation. You're not meeting the new you, you're remembering the original you, the child who dreamed vivid dreams, who sensed danger before it came, who saw angels in clouds and didn't think it was strange. That child was never wrong. She was just too early for the world around her. That vision you had as a teen, it still matters. That recurring dream. It's not coincidence, it's coded memory. The places you're drawn to, the names that haunt you, the colors that show up when you pray. None of it is random. It's all part of what you came here to do. Because God is peeling back the years of programming, not just from society, from religion, trauma, and fear. You're not going insane. You're getting in sync. Your gifts were never gone. They were just waiting for permission. What if the very thing you feared about yourself was actually your divine assignment trying to wake you up, chosen one? You are not broken. You are not unstable. You are not crazy. You're remembering who you were before the world convinced you to forget. Type "I remember" if your soul knows exactly what this is. Part 9. God is rewriting your identity in the dark. You're not who you were, and that's exactly the point. She's sitting in the dark, alone in the bathroom, lights off, just her reflection in the mirror under moonlight. Her face looks familiar, but something about her eyes has changed. They're deeper now, quieter, stronger. You don't feel like yourself anymore, not in a bad way, in a hauntingly holy way. The version of you that could smile through pain is dissolving. The you who stayed silent to be accepted is losing her voice for something better. Everything is unraveling. You can't force old friendships, can't wear old clothes, can't even pray the same anymore. You're not lazy, you're not flaky, you're not cold, you're becoming. Why God does it in the dark? Because the dark is where He does His finest work. Not in the spotlight, but in the silence, not with applause, but with holy anonymity. You were hidden. not because you were forgotten, but because your identity was being rewritten. Too sensitive, too much, not enough, crazy, overthinking, emotional, dramatic. God never gave you those names. People did, and now heaven is stripping them off one heartbreak at a time. You are not the version of you shaped by survival. You are not the mask you wore to stay small. You are not the lie you believed just to be loved. You are fire. You are wind. You are sealed. You are sacred. And heaven knows your real name. You've always felt it. A name in your belly you haven't said aloud. A calling you carry but can't yet articulate. That's what God is activating right now. Not just your destiny, your identity. The kind of identity that doesn't need to explain itself. It just walks in, and the room adjusts. If you're in the dark now, let it strip you. Let it refine you. Let it rename you. Because by the time the light returns, you won't even recognize the old you anymore. If who you thought you were was never who God called you to be, would you let her go without saying goodbye, chosen one? The shaking wasn't meant to break you. It was meant to rename you. And the next time you look in the mirror, you'll see the one God always saw. Type, "That's me," if your old self is fading and your spirit knows you're being renamed in the dark. Part 10. Your mission is activating, that's why it's uncomfortable. Narrative style. Whispered, prophetic, and purposeful. It hurts because you're carrying something holy. Now the woman is pacing, not anxious, activated. She's not sure what she's supposed to do yet, but she knows she can't go back. Her dreams feel louder, her thoughts more urgent. Her world is rearranging and her soul is on fire. You feel it, don't you? That trembling under your skin, that pull you can't explain, that weight that didn't used to be there. You're not restless. You're being repositioned. Your mission is waking up inside you. That's why your life feels like it's shaking. The comfort is cracking. The distractions are dying. The delays are being deleted. You are no longer allowed to sleep through destiny, because heaven never gives an empty soul a heavy calling. If you feel the pressure, it's because you're trusted. You are carrying light, and light disrupts every room that was built in darkness. That's why they're acting strange around you. That's why you're no longer invited. That's why old habits feel like poison now. You're not broken, you're being launched. You've cried more in this season than any other. You've questioned if you're enough. You've wondered if you missed your moment. But beloved, your moment is not behind you. It's waking up inside you. Everything that made you feel unqualified is exactly what made you ready. Ask Moses, ask Esther, ask Mary, ask Jesus. No one called by God ever felt ready. But they were chosen not because they were perfect, but because they were willing. Good. You're right where God can mold you. Missions don't come with blueprints. They come with whispers. God doesn't give you the map. He gives you momentum. Don't force. Flow. Don't rush. Listen. Don't wait for confirmation from man. You already got heaven's yes. The mission isn't coming. It's already begun. If God is activating your assignment, are you still waiting for permission from people he never sent, chosen one? You're not overwhelmed because you're behind. You're overwhelmed because heaven just hit start. You are no longer in hiding. You are in motion now. And the world is about to see what God placed inside you finally rise. Type, "I'm ready" if your mission has already started even before you fully understood it. You're not crazy. You're called. If you've made it this far, it wasn't by accident. You didn't click this by chance. Your spirit was summoned, and you answered. Everything you've been feeling, the heaviness, the silence, the shaking, the numbers at 3:33, the people falling away, the strange dreams, the tears for no reason, it's all been God rewiring your soul for something sacred. You are not crazy. You are not unstable. You are called. You are not being punished. You are being positioned. You are not being delayed. You are being developed. God isn't ignoring you. He's initiating you. Because you are not just loved, you are trusted. You've just lived through a divine awakening and no one saw it but heaven. But soon, the fruit of your obedience will bloom publicly. Your silence was sacred. Your suffering was seed. And your spirit is rising now, not as a victim, but as a vessel. Now that you know who you are, what will you do with the light inside you? Will you shrink back into survival, or will you finally step into the mission you were born for? If you feel this in your bones, if your heart whispered, "That's me," through any part of this message, don't leave in silence. Comment 777 below, not for the algorithm, but as your own sacred confirmation. I heard God, and I'm ready. You're not behind. You're not late. You're not lost. You were chosen. You were hidden for this very hour. And now, heaven is watching you step into your name. Welcome home, chosen one. Welcome to your next chapter.